So I could tell you a lot more stories about how we kind of grew that business. I remember a funny story. I remember our first kind of six-figure client, like a job that was, $100,000 plus. I remember it was a big client in Salt Lake, and they wanted to come down to our offices. And we did everything we could to not meet in our offices, right, for obvious reasons. Because if you came into our office, you'd probably be scared. I mean, it just wasn't that nice. We didn't have that much furniture. I remember that we rented furniture for like a day, spent the night before like moving in all this nice furniture into our office and total like plants, fake plants and all this stuff to make it look like a real and a good office. The client came in and was there for several hours, 3 hours the next day, and then we moved it right out. We didn't get the job, by the way. So that was a bummer. But that's kind of a funny startup story. Eventually, we did start getting those six-figure contracts. We grew the business, and we actually grew through the dot-com explosion. Obviously, we know about 9/11. You probably are familiar, at least somewhat, what happened with the stock markets and technology during those years. But technology companies and values just crashed, but we grew through that. And because we grew through that, we gained a lot of notoriety. And there was a NASDAQ-listed firm out of Southern California. It was kind of a multimedia conglomerate that was gobbling up little agencies like ours. And they first kind of came after me and wanted to hire me. And I said, I don't want a job and I don't want to be hired, but you could maybe look at our business. And so anyways, eventually we sold the business to a NASDAQ-listed company. And I think that was in 2003. So that's 9 years ago. So I was like 25 or 26 years old. And by the way, on the other side of the negotiating table was like a 50 to 55-year-old Harvard MBA, and I was a 25-year-old undergrad at BYU. You can probably imagine who got the better end of that deal. But it was a great experience for me to sell my first business to a publicly traded company when I was so young, and it was a really good learning experience for me.